Hey, welcome back to Soda Time Restoration. Mark Cohen here. We're back on the 6-case vertical. We're going to try tonight. We're going to try to get the sealer put down, come back on, get the base put on, and possibly clear it all in one evening. That's the goal tonight. So right now we're getting ready to wipe down the 2K. We have finished cleared about 400, and it is looking really nice. Hang on, and we'll be right back. I'll get some stuff and we'll get this wiped down. Hey, welcome back. Always right before I put my sealer down, I like using this, a product, Martin Senior product, part number PB1001. It's in our Pro Base series. It's just a surface cleaner. It takes any contaminants that you possibly might have on your machine. If you want that great finish, it's a 2-rag type deal, so you're gonna put it down a little bit wet, and then you're gonna wipe it off. If you got it fairly clean, you probably won't get much off, but I like getting everything wiped down, get all the dust, anything that possibly might be a contamination or cause a fisheye. This is a product you want to use. Use something. Obviously you saw the wet sand, which keeps it pretty clean. Usually the next day I'll come back in, which would be basically tonight, and get this totally wiped down really nicely. 6-case, probably one of your bigger square top machines. Give you a look at kind of what it looks like. So basically we're in our 2K primer. I've probably coated this at least 2, if not 3 in some areas, trying to get the best finish possible. We will go to get in the lower cabinet area here now. I'm not sure if the 6-case vertical machine is the biggest, but I guarantee you it's got to be really close to it. So your 110, your 6-case verticals, basically the same machine. Obviously holding 110 bottles. Why you always want to wipe it down after you've actually laid a little bit of cleaner on there, because sometimes that cleaner can leave a film, and it'll show up in your sealer, it'll show up in your base coat. So you want to get that wiped down really good after you've done it, just to make sure everything is clean. Prepping is always one of the things to get that perfect restoration. I don't care if you're a beginner or you're a guy that's done it 100 times, you will know at the end of the day, when you put that clear coat down, that's when this work kind of shows up. It takes a little bit of time to do them right, but this is where you get the best results, is taking care of stuff right now. So I'll wipe it down several times before we get to the end, before we get ready to do anything. I hope everybody enjoyed the Vendo 81, the delivery to my sister's house. It was a great weekend. They just couldn't believe it. They have something that will be with their family for a long time. It's been something I've been wanting to do for a long time. We both have kind of worked on this project probably about a year ago. Not quite, it's almost been a year, but fun project. We had a good time with the family, and hopefully get to go back up and see it again here somewhere down the road. But we're going to start right now. We're going to get everything set up to put the sealer on. The sealer I'm using tonight is an FS512. It's a Finish One product, sold through Sherwin-Williams, basically to Martin Senior side, which is at your Napa Auto Parts store. It's a 4-to-1 ratio. Probably all you want to get is just some coverage. And I like it because it turns that tone of the red just a little bit right where I want it to be. You can shoot it on gray, that same red, and it'll have a little bit different tone. So I always shoot the gray sealer, the FS512. If Probably everything that I've done on the channel has been done that way. I've been shooting the same color literally since '95. So obviously this won't be a white cap machine, it'll be all red. So hang on, we'll be right back, and I'm gonna get this sealer mixed up and we'll get her going. If you're that first time mixer, you've never shot a product before, and you're getting ready to do it, and you see this 4-to-1 ratio, and you're like, what do they really mean by 4-to-1? Well, if you get your measuring cup from your paint store, and about every paint store is going to have about the same kind of measuring cup that I'm getting ready to show you. A 4-to-1 ratio means the 4 is the main product. The 1 is just the reducer. So 4 parts, the first 4 parts you pour in is going to be the sealer. The 1 part is going to be the reducer. So don't take very much reducer, not very much at all. When you're mixing it, make sure the bottom has nothing sticking at the bottom. So if you're stirring it and you feel some stuff on the bottom, you have not shook it long enough or mixed it long enough. While we're kind of mixing and letting this get set up, a new product that I used on this machine, got probably about a year ago I stumbled across this. There's a product called 440 Express, made by Evercoat. The number at the Martin Senior Napa store is 100440. So if you do some body work, and every body shop guy will know what I'm talking about, all of a sudden you get it to the paint booth, you think you got it perfect, but when you get it really clean, all of a sudden you see these little tiny pinholes. I mean, real tiny ones. And I know a lot of people will say, well, somebody didn't get them sanded out. It happens. You can take this product, literally smear it, and I did it in a spot, and I'll try to show you where I did it at here. Had some little tiny pinholes. You can literally wipe it off, and that product, there's no sanding. It sets up, and you can paint it. Actually, I did do that, and then the next day I did come in and did a light sand before I did the wipe down. So I did do my last final sand, but let me show you a little spot here that we did. It's going to be tough to pick them out, but I'm going to try to point them out here. But you can see them. I had just a little spot of a few pinholes, and I tell you, just went right over it, filled them really nicely. Yeah, in days before, I would have taken body filler, or at least a glaze, used my glaze, and I would have taken a razor blade and went across that. I would have had to let it set up, and then I would have probably shot a little primer over the top of it. This here will help accelerate the steps, so you're not having to go back over it. But 440 Express, remember that. You literally, if you want to get on, I probably should have shot a video of it, but literally, you wipe it on and wipe it off. It's almost like putting wax on, and it fills the little tiny pinholes, and you're done. It's that quick. All right, I think I got this mixed enough. So, talking about the 4-to-1, you're going to see always a ratio chart, and this one says 4-1-to-1. So if you pour up to 3 and you pour to this next one, my cup's a little bit dirty, but if you pour up to the next 3, that is actually a 4-to-1 ratio. So if you pour to the 4, you'd pour your reducer, so your reducer would go from here to there. That would be your 1 part. So you could literally go all the way up to scale. So if you poured your sealer up to here to the number 8, you would then pour the rest from here to there, and that would give you a 4-to-1 ratio. Hopefully that explains that. Many years I didn't even understand it. I had my own formula, I thought, and then somebody told me, well, you know, you can use that cup for that same thing, and I like, Lee, it never even dawned on me what those ratios were meeting. But every cup will have different ratios. It'll have a 2-to-1, a 3-to-1, a 4-to-1. So that's a little bit of help on mixing. We're going to pour up to, I'm going to try to do this cabinet in probably on a 5. We're going to pour it up to a 5. See if we can get everything covered. Well, I'll tell you what, yeah, we'll do 5. Pretty large machine, so we're going to try to do literally about a half a cup here. Don't know if you can see the line coming up here. We're going to pour it up to the 5 and right there. And then we're going to put our reducer in and this is going to go up to the next 5, which will give us the 4-to-1 ratio. So as you can see, we're at the 5 right there. We're going to pour up to that 5, which will give us our 4-to-1 ratio. We're right there. As you see, not much reducer, not much at all. Get that mixed really good. I'm using the PPS cup again tonight, which you're probably, if you've been watching me, I've been using it for several years now. I'm pretty sold on it because I hate cleaning a cup, and this makes life really easy. We'll show at the end how easy the taking care of keeping the cup clean. This lid goes on next. It locks down, and then the PPS gun goes on next, and we're there. So let me get everything put together here, get my paint suit on, and we'll get ready to throw some sealer on here. All right, here we go. Hey, welcome back to Soda Time Restoration. Mark Cohen here. We're back on the 6-case vertical. I know it's been a couple of weeks, but we're getting ready to do the door tonight. We're going to try a little bit different procedure tonight. Not really different, but the steps as we go. So if you're trying to learn how to get the embossed lettering done, this will be a great video for you. Right now we're in the final stage of a 2K primer. I'm going to scuff this a little bit right now, get everything scuffed really good, and then we're going to come back in and shoot a sealer on it, a dark sealer. I've got just some water in here. I'm going to do a little bit of a scuff. I've got 400 on my paper on a soft pad, so when we get into the embossed lettering, I'll use kind of a Scotch-Brite pad in that area, but right now I just want to get this 2K primer as smooth as possible. And so hang on and we're gonna get started. All right, we're going to switch over on the lettering. When you get up to the lettering, use a Scotch-Brite pad. You just want to get that scuffed up really good. Obviously, we'll be putting the sealer on next. Then we'll hit in just these 2 areas, we'll hit our white. We'll just hit our white, probably 2 or 3 coats. We'll let that set up, and then we'll be applying our lettering. Once we get our vinyl down on top of that white, then we'll base coat the whole process with red. So then the last obvious step, we'll be peeling our vinyl off. We'll be clear coating over the top. So that's a little bit of the process. Stay with us. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I think we went over that 1250 mark. Thank you, just incredible. Thank you very much. The people that have supported the channel, it's just been an awesome experience to be able to do this and show some people if they got an old Coke machine, or if you're thinking about having a machine restored, what all in the process, what it takes to do one right. But I love doing these machines, and it's just cool to bring a piece of Americana back to life, something that you can still use, something that was built in the 40s and 50s. So hang on with us. I'm going to get this scuffed down, and then we'll continue on and get the next process going. Make sure when you're scuffing into this, get down in every groove. Make sure everything is really good and clean. If you're wet sanding it, make sure you get it rinsed really good. Don't leave anything to dry. Get it rinsed off and dry it really good, and you'll probably have one of your better finishes. One thing about sanding, wet sanding, you don't have a lot of dust you're stirring up in the shop. All right, let's get this rinsed off and we'll go on to the next step. If you've got a squeegee, you've probably seen me use this in other videos. This is a time saver. You will literally get most of this water off with one swipe. Obviously, we'll be coming back over this with the cloth in the embossed area to get everything as clean as possible. I consider this a critical stage, because everything from here on out is what you're going to see on the finished product. So you want this as smooth and as clean as possible to give it that nice finished look. But as you can see, it is almost dry. We'll get a rag and do the rest of it here. Once again, get into every little crevice. Get everything wiped down as best as you can. All right, we're gonna let that dry for just a little bit. I'm gonna take a blow dryer right off the air hose. We'll do that probably for a little bit. We'll let it set and we'll be ready to put the sealer on. Okay, we're ready to put the sealer on now. We're using an FS 512. It's a gray sealer, mixed 4-to-1. We will get this applied. We'll let that dry. We'll get our white put down on top of our 2 embossed areas. We'll let that set up and we'll see how quick we can get our lettering on there. So hang on, we'll get her going right now. Okay, we'll let that set up and then we'll be ready for the white. We'll be right back. Okay, we're ready to put the white on. We're gonna put some light coats to start with. We'll let it kind of bleed out. That's not an issue. Just make sure you get good coverage on all your embossed areas right now. So here we go. We'll probably put about 3 coats down. We'll let it dry in between each coat. Hand slick, so you don't want, the base coat will dry fairly quick. After our last coat, we'll probably let it set up for a good 30-40 minutes before we apply anything to it. Most of the times I'll wait the next day, but we're gonna see how it works in a 30 to 45 minute time frame. Okay, we're gonna let that dry and we'll be ready to get our lettering done next. So hang on, we'll be right back. Okay, we're right now at its tape free time and we're gonna give it a shot here. This is probably the spot where if you're thinking about doing the embossing, this is the steps you're gonna need to do. This white, we're gonna get covered up right now. We'll put the vinyl over the top. We'll put base coat, red base coat over everything, and then we'll peel off the vinyl, which will expose the white lettering that we're covering up. So hang on here, we're gonna get started. So on a Vendo, on a 6-case vertical or a Vendo 39, you get these already laid out from Funtronics. And we're gonna start out with the drink Coca-Cola. So I'm just gonna do a quick little cutout on that piece. And try to run, when you cut that top edge off, that is your guide. And if you can get that really straight across there, don't get into your white, obviously, the lettering, but get it really close, because you're gonna need that when you get to lining it up. And if you go back on very many of my videos, there's times I've had to cut just the D out. Some of these scripts change, and I've had some lays down perfect. But all these scripts, I think they get stamped a little bit different. So you'll have to work with a little bit, and you'll see that. We'll see how this one lays down. I always like getting those corners, so when you get to the end, you want to pull that, you want to feel how that letter is laying on the logo. Okay, boy, I tell you, could be wrong, but this one looks like it's dead on. Just laying it down on there like that. So we're gonna give it a shot. If you don't feel comfortable doing a whole script, cut you a couple letters out at a time, maybe even one. And when you're peeling these off, make sure the letters are staying on the sticky back side. And here we go. And I try not to push down right away. Get your bottom edge lined up first. And once you see that is pretty well dead on, and if you need to pull it up, you can. Just don't push down right away. That's usually what gets you in trouble. Well, it looks really good. You can kind of check yourself. I'm going to move it up just a tad. As you can see, I kind of pushed on that arm maybe a little more than I probably should have, but it's coming up. So we're going to do a little bit of adjustment here. Looks like it's being very forgiving. We're going to bump it up just a hair so we can get the top more. I like the top to be dead on probably better. So that's the way I'm going to go on this right now. I'm going to look at the top first before I stick it down. But the spacing looks really incredibly good. That looks good. That looks good. I like that a lot better there. Rub it in real good. And if you got dirt on your hands, get that off right now so you don't get that rubbed into your paint. I told myself last time to do these in red so you can see them better, and I went off and didn't get that done. Ordered the wrong one. So if you do these in red when you're laying them on there, it gives you a little bit more of a feel of how everything's going to set on there. And I'm going to go over each letter now, one at a time, and we'll pull this backing off, kind of see where we're at. It looks good. And after you do this, you can kind of, if you need to do a realignment or if you need to push some edges down, that's not an issue. So we're gonna continue on. Definitely, I've never done a full script ever, one layout, so take this one once again. You're gonna cut that C out, leave just a hairline space. Obviously you don't want to get into the white. We're going to get this C done first. It's a real long one. When you're doing your last touch-ups, press very firmly around the edges. You want all those edges tight. You don't want anything sticking up, because when we go over it with the paint, we don't want anything to go up underneath this vinyl. So we want all the vinyl just as tight as we can get it down. Trim all that outer edge. That is going to be your guide. Tell if you've got your alignment down right. So you can kind of lay it on there. The deal with the long leg on the C, I've went both ways. I tend to start at the top. I've tried it both ways, but it seems like doing the top is a little bit more easier to get alignment, because you could cheat some angles this way, and the more of that paper that you got cut off on the angle will help you down the road. But here we go. sometimes getting it, if you get it really close, tack this down up in this area and then check yourself this way. And if it feels good, then start coming this way. And don't push very hard. Just want to go around here because we may need to pop it off a little bit to be dead on with the embossing. If you feel like you're a little bit off, you can always pull it back and start over. That feels really good. And when I talk about those edges, I'm talking about these edges right here. You want those really sharp. Go around each one, outside, inside, do each letter the same way. That sharp line is what will give you the crisp line of that lettering. All right, let's go on. We're gonna give it a shot and see if we can do the OCA. I always kind of look at it before I start cutting it out to see where it's all looking like. It looks really good. This could be one of the ones that lays down really nice for us. And if you have to cut through here, that's not an issue. You can cut through there. And I'll show you a technique if we have time, how to correct maybe a vinyl that you had to pull off and you tore up part of your paper. You can correct that. Take a little bit of your base coat white, tape off your lines with some masking tape. Just take your time. It's not like we're going to the races on this deal. This is kind of the piece that detail really pays off. You may not be laying as quick as I am if you're watching the video and doing yours, but I've done many. And I might be cheating a little bit here tonight, seeing if we can do this complete OCA in one swoop. We're going to try it though. Definitely cut this inner area out, and it gives you some flexibility if that C doesn't lay down just like you like it. I have done it before without, and it does cause you some trouble. That little, I call it teardrop, whatever you want to call it, that sometimes lines up a little tougher. Nothing crazy, nothing that you can't do. You can go back on quite a few of my videos. I used to sand through and do this as a sand through. I'd put the white down, I'd paint it red with the base coat, and then I would sand the lettering just on top of the emboss until the white started coming through. Now, obviously you got some sand throughs that you got to deal with and some touching up. It works, but it's not perfect. Obviously, if I could do it by hand, just paint them on by hand, I'd be the first one in line to do it, but I do not have a steady enough hand for it, and I really appreciate those guys that do, because that is definitely a talent. If you can do it, it's tough to beat. That's why I come up with something that I could pull off on my own. Now we're getting close here. Alright, and we'll go back and recheck every edge before we pull all our stuff off. I pulled this one off so you can kind of see what it looks like. I'll leave them all on there until I'm pretty well to the done side here. And this looks like it's going to be a good fit. So here we go. Typically I'd wait until the next day before I lay the vinyl. Tonight I'm trying to see if my base coat can handle me putting the decal on it after about an hour dry time. We will know tomorrow when I pull off the vinyl. We'll get the base put on tomorrow and let it get set up. So probably getting the O and the first C lined up without it all sticking is a little bit of trick. Sometimes I hold them up with my fingers. I try to get this line here is the critical one, and as you can see, I probably should have cut that middle piece out so we can see it a little better. But well, I think we can get it on there. We just have to keep checking ourselves here. Sometimes you can feel that line, if it's correct or not. That feels good. Peel this up just a tad. Get that base one on. I may have to cheat that one just a little bit. Not bad, not bad. I go ahead and sometimes get those edges down now instead of later. And then we'll come back in and do it again. All right, the easy one. A little dash. Once again, cut it really good. lined up just about right there. On to the next C, which is a big one. Probably gonna be one of the tougher ones to lay down. We'll kind of get it cut out of the draft here quick off the paper. But you'll see it's a long one. And usually the issue is not if you get it cocked a little bit wrong, you're gonna be pulling it back and forth quite a bit. So make sure you cut your edges really good on this one. And remember, we're dealing with base coat on these paints. Base coat is very soft. Always be careful when you're dealing around that area. It does not have any protection until that clear coat gets on it. Once the clear coat's on it, it's usually pretty good shape. But we'll have a base coat red that will go over the vinyl then and over everything else, obviously. This is an all red machine, 6-case vertical. I don't know how much Sean's speeding this, but I'll give you a time frame at the end on how long it took me to get all the vinyl applied, because I'm sure he's getting bored with me watching me cut out letters here. But I thought this really shows the process. One more area here I want to get cut out, kind of a critical area. Okay, let's do the same thing. We're going to start at the top, work our way to the bottom. I need to go back and see how I did my original ones, if I ended up cutting this one in half to try to do it. We'll see how it goes here though. I like to get that corner there started and see the angle. If you can see that angle, that helps. And then you can see if you're going to hit all your other angles. When you're peeling this off, make sure your vinyl's staying down. You may have to get an edge going sometimes. That's why I like to push it down many times before I even get to once you get it going like this, kind of pull it at an angle. Watch your lines like this as you're going. Make sure everything is staying down. You want it to flow. You don't want no kinks. You don't want any kinks in it at this point. Like so. See if we can get another one going here. A little first edge starting is a miracle. Get it going. Sometimes rolling it with your thumb a little bit, then it starts pulling it up. Like so. And if you do dig into your base coat right now, you can touch it up, and I may go over that before we put our clear down. You can touch that up with a little dabber. Moving along. Now once you spray your base coat over the top of this, let it set a day. The next day, you gotta get these peeled off, or they come off really hard. It'll come off, but it is not pleasant. It comes off in pieces. If you get it the next day, you literally it just goes so much better. Now, I'm probably going to show you why I like the, yeah, you can just tell automatically, okay. And when you get ready to peel this off, you can automatically see that, okay, that could be on the machine like that if this is a white cap. All right, let's go down to the Vendo. We'll get it peeled off. It's always tricky getting that first one up, and after that it's not too bad. There we go. So we're at 56 minutes applied, and the top cover is off. Well, I hope everybody learned a little bit on the vinyl, how to use it. We will get the red base coat applied right now tonight. I just looked, I'm like on 3% on my battery right now, so we probably won't have that in this video. We may catch you in the next one. But hey, thanks for stopping by. I know this was kind of a long video, but it will be there many years down the road. Hit that subscribe button. We just went over on one of our last videos 100,000 views, which is incredible, so thank you. thank you so much, and you know, hopefully when you come back, we'll see this in clear coat. So thanks for stopping by, and we'll catch you on the next one.